We're going to learn how to replicate the painting of Lilac Petunias 1925 by Georgia O'Keeffe. In this video we're going to use chalk pastels for a smooth finish. However, oil pastels will also work just as well as long as the pastel is smudged and blended into the paper. Materials you'll need are a sketching pencil, some pastels, ideally chalk pastels, but oil pastels can also work well, some paper to draw on, ideally not white. The size of it depends on how large or small that you want your picture to be. To set myself up, I first begin by masking the border of the paper. This is not essential, but if you want to create a neat finish, then you can just do that. However, if you don't have masking tape, it's not a problem to work exactly to the edge of the paper itself. The next thing you need to do is take a reference image. You can either work from the reference image provided on screen, or you can print out a coloured, ideally, reference image from the attachment that I provided on Firefly. Next, over the reference image, I'm actually going to create a grid of 4 boxes, which will actually just help us to see where the proportion of the flower petals are going to be. And this is a very useful trick at trying to get the size and the shape as accurate as we possibly can here. So all I'm doing is just lightly sketching in pencil the shapes that I see in front of me to get the rough shape correct. Once you're happy with the sketch that you've done, take a white oil pastel or a white chalk pastel, and what I'd like you to do next is to mark out the highlights that you see. What's helping me here is actually I'm working from this black and white image, so all of the colour is out of sight, and really what shows is the contrast between the light and the dark. So just loosely sketch over where the highlights are, and the beauty with the chalk pastel is that you can use your fingers to really smudge in those highlights. If you are working with an oil pastel, you won't really want to use your fingers to smudge, and it doesn't come off the skin so easily. So you may wish to use a smudging stick if you have one, or just roll up a piece of paper to smudge oil pastels if that's what you're working with. So you can see that the background around the flowers is white, so I'm just smudging that in and getting that ready. For closer inspection of the image, I've actually turned it around to be landscape now for better detail, and you can really work however you like, either portrait or landscape, it doesn't really matter. Next I'm going to just plot in where we want the dark blue. You can either use the end of the pastel or even the side to drag and sweep along larger areas of space. Don't forget to curve your lines, so we don't want any harsh straight colouring up and down. The leaves are curved, so we want to make sure that the direction of our lines are going to be curved as well. Be careful not to put too much blue down, because you will want to go in and blend in purple, maybe a little bit of lighter blue as well, so just be sparing with that. Next you can see I'm starting to apply the purple, and again the beauty with the chalk pastel is that it smudges very well to give a smooth finish. So I'm just really applying that where I see it in the reference image here. Next I'm going to take black and just mark out where that darkest part of the flower is, and then just use the finger to smudge that, being careful not to actually colour in the stamen in the centre of the flower. Now we need to just focus on blocking in all of the colour that we see into the flowers, and also being mindful of that curving appearance of the flower petals. Don't be scared to blend the colours into each other, because when you run your finger over from one colour to the next, it gives a lovely finish. We don't want to see any of that paper colour from behind. Once you block in the first layer of the colours, now it's time to exaggerate. So you can take the black pastel again and really just go around some of the outlines of those petals to enhance the shadow. And you might also want to use, if you've got a bright pink or a purple, to enhance sort of that purple flower to the right. In fact, I didn't have much of a selection of colours at the time, so I just blended a little bit of red and white to almost create a pinky finish. Do keep in mind that you can create different tints and tones with the colours that you have if you are limited for colour. So to create a darker blue still, you can just add a little bit of black and smudge that into the blue to make it a darker blue. Equally, if you want to make it a lighter colour, you can mix in a little bit of white with the colour to make it slightly lighter. Here I'm just going over again with the white to emphasize any highlights that may have been lost due to our smudging earlier. To finish the picture, carefully peel back masking tape if you used it to reveal a nice neat border. If you've got hairspray at home, you can use this to fix your chalk pastel drawing just by spraying it from about 30 centimeters distance, evenly above the surface. If you used oil pastels, you can optionally use a Mod Podge or it could be PVA to give that nice gloss finish.